Hey guys, what's up? This is not hashtag follow the conversation, as I kind of almost started to say. This is a new show on the culturemakepeople.com, which I have yet to name. I don't have a good name, but I think maybe we'll get to that. This is the show where we talk about TV shows, specifically some of the shows that we're kind of following. We'll kind of get into a little bit more of the format, but let me introduce to you the co-host of the show, Mark.
What's up?
Mark is you've been on a couple shows in the past, and I've hinted at kind of talked a little bit about doing this show, and here we are. Finally, we are getting to it. We are going to lay it down, our thoughts, and get this stuff out in the public.
Yeah.
We meant to kind of get to some of the stuff earlier. Some family emergency stuff came up, and so but we are getting to it now, and we are recording to you at 10:53 p.m.
You have to work at like 6:30 tomorrow.
Yeah, I gotta go to work. Not that early, but I have to get to work tomorrow too. So, but you know, we're bringing you the show. We're getting it to you out now. So
Dedication.
So yeah, that's what you want to call it. That's what you're gonna. So no, we're gonna get this. We're gonna talk. So what this show is TV shows. There's some television shows that we both follow. And I kind of talk about them on hashtag sometimes, but I don't go into necessarily too much depth all the time. Here we are going to go full-blown spoilers. Like, we are going to talk about these episodes in a spoiler fashion. So we will let you know what we're going to talk about. And some of the shows that we've been watching, and we will be following the shows. So some of the shows we're going to talk about tonight will be Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is on ABC. Arrow, and Flash, which are on the CW, and we'll talk about some other shows as well. We won't mention, but so before we get started and we start breaking down these shows, just to kind of give the folks at home a little background of kind of interest us, I want each of us to talk just shortly about some of the TV shows that we like to watch, and so they can kind of you guys can have a background. You guys know where we are coming from, and so forth. So, Mark, we'll start off with you. What are outside of kind of these shows, what kind of shows do you generally enjoy watching? What kind of media do you consume? Like in that
I watch a few comedies. I don't watch very many. I watch Last Man Standing and The Goldbergs, which are the main comedies I watch. They're still running. And then Psych. I've watched a lot of Psych. And then I watch also a lot of cartoon shows, especially related to superheroes. Which I have to plug. The greatest show of all time is Justice League Unlimited. If you haven't seen that show, you have to. It's on Netflix, both seasons.
You need to watch it. Yeah.
Or Young Justice is probably my second favorite show.
Yeah, it's a good one as well.
Or X-Men the Animated Series. I don't know if that's on Hulu Plus. If you have Hulu Plus, you can stream X-Men the Animated Series with no commercials.
If you have the no commercial Hulu Plus, right?
No, if you just have Hulu Plus, you can watch the X-Men the Animated Series without any commercials.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So for myself, I also watch some superhero. I've watched the Justice League Unlimited, the Justice League, Young Justice, only season 1 of Young Justice, which is what's on Netflix. But I also like a lot of sci-fi. Star Trek. I've watched a lot of Star Trek. In the movie, I think all the movies. I've seen a lot of the TV. I've watched all of the original series, and I watched all of just once. Just once. I have gone back and watched some of those episodes again.
Okay.
Not often, but like I've gone through it and watched it once. I've watched all of The Next Generation, seasons 1 through like 7 or 8, and then I've watched a lot of Deep Space Nine. I'm on season 5 of Deep Space Nine, so I've watched a lot of Star Trek, but I just like sci-fi. I've watched Farscape. That was a while back. It's kind of a crappy Australian show, a sci-fi show.
Australians don't know anything.
It's not. It's a European show. It's not the most. I wouldn't say it's the most family friendly. It's European. And then I've watched Stargate. uh, SG-1. I've watched a lot of Atlantis, but I kind of rebooted and I started at Stargate, which if you ever watch Stargate, just skip like the first episode or two, because like those weren't not those as far as like quality, like not just quality, but like content. Like just skip those. Don't worry about it. And then and you're not gonna miss a lot. You can get it in a wiki article. That's just a little disclaimer. But I watched a lot of Stargate, Stargate Atlantis. I really like sci-fi, but I like superheroes too. You and I both have. I used to read comic books as me and Michael had a show, the monthly issue, the weekly issue, the monthly issue
weekly.
Yes. And so we you and I like superheroes, and we like kind of this genre of content, and this and a lot of the shows we're going to talk about on this podcast are going to basically mainly all be comic books. So with that, let's dive into it. I decided we're going to go in alphabetical order, mate, and we have a lot to talk about today because we've got a lot of shows.
4 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Like 4 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and then 3 of all the others of Arrow and Flash, right?
3 Arrow and 3 Flash.
Okay.
So we're going to start with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And so Arrow, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Flash, we are going to spoil these. If you are not caught up recently, we're recording this as October 22nd. So if you are not caught up alive, we will spoil these things. So if you don't want to be spoiled, go watch them and then come back and listen to the show. So Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3 is out. I really liked season 2. It was probably one of my favorite things on television last TV season. It was a lot better than Arrow. I really liked Flash last season, though. Everything is a lot better than Arrow, I guess, when it comes to Arrow season 3. But we might talk about that later.
Season 3 is bad television.
Huh?
Arrow season 3 is just bad television.
It's bad.
Like it's not like bad for Arrow or something. It is not good show.
Specifically the second half though. Like the first half of Arrow season 3 was good. Like so in Arrow season 3 spoil I'm not gonna call spoilers. If we're talking about it, we're gonna talk about it. In Arrow season 3, like Sarah Lance dies. They kill her right off in the beginning. And then the first few episodes is like, we got to figure out who did this. And then like in the mid-season, after Oliver gets stabbed and thrown off the mountain, it just kind of went downhill from there. Because like, oh, he should have died, but no, we're just going to throw him on the side of a mountain. And then he's just going to be sitting there stabbed, but then he's going to get dragged away and then healed magically. It's like, oh no, what happens? Then 3 days later, he's off back to Starling City and like jumping. It's just... that was bad, but then like
the one episode that is just the Dark Knight Rises.
he rose from like the lowest point, except Bruce Wayne's back was broken.
Yeah, but like the whole they have to get the city to stand up for itself and stuff and fight the corruption. There's an episode that is just the Dark Knight Rises in an hour-long format.
There you go. I mean, you don't even have to go watch that movie. Actually, don't watch that episode. Just go watch that movie
because it's way better.
Man, we'll talk about. We'll get there. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I really like season 2, and coming into season 3, they're getting into some of the Inhuman stuff, which is kind of crazy. And they started getting into the Inhumans kind of in the mid-season of last season. Last year's season 2's mid-season, they started diving into Inhuman stories, and which is crazy because if you look at the Marvel movie lineup, the Inhuman movie is not for like 2018. I think is when it's scheduled to release, to come out, and they are laying all of this groundwork right now. And then season 3 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. continues that groundwork and picks up where at the end of season 2, Daisy Sky ended up fighting her mother. Her deranged dad killed her mother, and now she is working.
Agent Cooper.
Yes, yes. Agent Cooper, Sky's dad, he killed the mom, and now now Sky is working with S.H.I.E.L.D. to Daisy. That's a joke in actually see the first episode, but she's working with S.H.I.E.L.D. to recruit all of these Inhumans. And the reason they're recruiting there's so many Inhumans now is because the mineral that
The Terrigen.
yeah, the Terrigen, the chemical, whatever you want to call it, that brings humans who have the Inhuman gene to that, like it's gone out publicly. It is in fish oil predominantly, I believe, and that's how it's spreading. And so people are being exposed and transforming into Inhumans. And a lot of this season is kind of or so far, part of it has been about the Terrigen is increasing. Like we predict in 18 months, it's going to be all over the world, and we got to figure out how to stop this. Like this is things are getting out of hand. I really liked Agents of Shield is not bad. It's starting to get into a strong point. It's definitely, I think, better acted and written than the CW shows. And I think that's one of the reasons I like it so much more. What are your thoughts on Agents of Shield so far?
So far, I think that it's still going very strong. I like the season a lot. I'm not the biggest Sky or Daisy fan. Well, I just think that's dumb. I feel like if somebody called me something my whole life, like I was adopted. Let's say I was adopted, and then my parents were like, okay, and they didn't know my name, and then somehow I find my real parents, and they're like, oh yeah, your name's not Marcus. I'd probably just go by what I've been called my whole life, because that's what I've been known as. But if she wants to switch her name, so that's just kind of annoying getting used to. I like this season a lot, though. I think it's starting very well and has a lot of kind of different plots, which I don't remember the last season having as many kind of just different side things that are like different plots that are kind of just taking place at the same time. Like this season, you have the Inhuman stuff going on at S.H.I.E.L.D., but then you have the other organizations like hunting down people, and then you have stuff with Lincoln. Well, I guess Lincoln's kind of with the other stuff, but then you got the Hydra stuff, and you got the people hunting down Hydra, and then you have what's her name, Gemma being gone, and then having to come back, and then now wanting to remake the portal to go back to wherever she was. It just feels like that a lot's going on, but not so much that I feel like I'm not getting enough information towards lame or anything, but enough to where they're not going to run out of story halfway through the season or something.
And they're moving the story along pretty fast. At the end of the first episode of season 3, it ends with Gemma, like she's shown that she's like on like some strange place. That is a storyline that they could have dragged out for several episodes if they.
Which I would have been mad about.
Yeah, which wouldn't have been cool. Like I wouldn't have liked that. But they ended it like at the end of the second episode, she's back, and they're dealing with, and they're moving along. They're not stringing us along with these cliffhangers that, I mean, inevitably she had to have come back to the team, and the fact that they're moving that along is nice.
They actually watching the second episode, your brother was at my house, and I was like, I will be legitimately angry with this show. At the end of it, when like he's like has her hand and everything's about to like break and stuff, I was like, if they don't get her, if they get this close and don't get her back this episode, I will get legitimately angry because that is just bullcrap. I was like, I will get actually like mad, but if they don't get her back this episode,
that's something that the CW would pull.
This is just Arrow crap. What is this?
Get your Arrow out of my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
Man, that's a podcast. That's a podcast title. I might have to remember that one. Get your Arrow out of my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So that the story continues, and this last episode, the episode that aired this week, some stuff went down. The Ward Hydra stuff kind of came to a head a little bit, and so with May and what's his face Hunter fighting Ward, what did you think about how that episode ended?
What happened?
So
Oh,
at the
that
end of
was
the
the.
at the end of the episode, basically, like, uh, Ward's like, "Hey May, I've got Andrew." Which, by the way, the quips that May and Ward were throwing back at each other were great, because it's like at the end, like May's like, "Oh." She said something about like, man, I at least I wasn't the one who shot my girlfriend and then watched her die in my arms or something like that. And then Ward comes back with some quip about May and Andrew, her other significant other, and
Daredevil.
it was just
Yeah.
it was just really funny, and kind of it was very like they were definitely trying to irritate each other and get under each other's skins.
Well, yeah, if
But
you remember
I thought it was funny.
the first season of that show,
Mhm.
they definitely have a history. So
Yes, they have a history. They were hooking up.
Yeah.
And so I think that made it a lot more personal when Ward went full Hydra and stuff.
full retard.
I don't know. Does going Hydra qualify as going full retard?
I would say so.
I mean, you're going bad. I guess maybe it's just that way. But so at the end, we have Ward is basically talking to May and saying, "Hey, I've got your boyfriend. I got people on him or whatever. We're watching him or whatever. If you don't back down, I'm gonna kill him. I'll have him killed." And so Hunter, the guy she's with, is basically like, sorry, May, like I can't let this. I know what he's talking about, but I need to take this guy out. Otherwise, he's going to hurt a lot of people with the guns that Hunter had brought to Ward to get in close to him. And the episode ends basically with an explosion, and kind of they're trying, maybe suggesting that Andrew might be dead. Which I was kind of thinking he might be, but I heard a theory today that kind of was like blowing my, like, kind of like, wait, no, that can't work, from someone I work with. So what this person, her name is Amy, and what she was suggesting was, that Andrew is actually Lash, and that when the kid was running away from the building, she was saying that he looked freaked out, like, is what he saw. And so it's probably because she saw him turn. We didn't see Andrew's face. We saw some blood and like the phone, and that was it. Also, if you go back earlier in the episode, that would explain why Lash left Daisy alive and only killed the other Inhuman. It's because this guy looks at her and is like, "Oh, it's Daisy," and then he just walks away and leaves. Also, the other part of the theory, one more thing, and then I'll hand this over, is that with him having that, him knowing where all the humans are would come with his position and shield. So that was a theory. I think that sounds like a CW thing to pull, not necessarily something that ABC would pull with their show. But that was I hadn't heard that before. That was a new thought.
I believe that Lash, because Lash is a comic book character, I believe that he is a known Inhuman who is. I don't read any of the Inhuman stuff because I think all of it's kind of just crappy. But and everything that I've heard about it it's kind of crappy, so I don't care much. But Lash is pretty much just, if you think of the most like Darwinistic evolutionist survival of the fittest type person who is stupid, is Lash. Because Lash pretty much just looks at Inhumans and says, "You're not worthy," and then tries to kill them. And occasionally, if they like survive, then he's like, "Oh well, you were strong enough to live. Never mind." Or they weren't strong enough to live, and he just killed them. Because like that's like his only point in life or in the show.
That kind of fits with what's been happening. Although, I mean, he's basically the guy who was helping him track everybody down was basically saying that he recognizes that Inhumans are a disease, and he's actually trying to wipe all of us out. Like, he's doing us a fate, like he's doing the right thing. That kind of fits with that character. So maybe the writers maybe go in that direction. This could be total bull. I'm not necessarily sure that Andrew is dead because we didn't see his face.
I don't think he's dead. Yeah, I don't think he's dead because we didn't see his face. But I wouldn't care if he is. I wasn't that invested in the character.
Mm. But if he is dead, then we can just throw him in a Lazarus pit. Oh wait,
So,
we can't do that.
we can't.
Um,
We have to set up another show later on this year. So we have to do, man.
So, is there anything else you want to talk about of Agents of Shield before I move on?
Not. Oh, the Gemma stuff. Do you have any theories on where Gemma is?
So I listened to another podcast about these shows, and some of the theories that I've heard tossed around are like that was a Kree planet that she was on. I don't. It was definitely another planet, because if you look at some of the pictures and stuff of where she was, you can see like other planets or like moons or something up above. So I think she was definitely like on another planet. It was very possibly Kree. Or this could be the introduction to a new alien race that we haven't met yet. The Kree have been kind of the go-to alien for a lot of Marvel stuff, as far as like you've got the Kree that were part of the Tahiti Project back in season 2 and season 1 back in season 1 and season 2. You've got that. You've got them being responsible for the Inhumans and the Kree War. And so, like, they're kind of the go-to alien. So maybe this will be the witness of it. We'll see another alien race introduced here, but I'm not sure yet where she was.
I watched a video from a YouTuber I watch, and he has a bunch of theories. But my first theory was, I don't know why, but just a different realm. Because if you watch. Wow, talking's really hard with this thing in my braces. What is it? Thor, like the Thor movies talk about it, and other things talk about it. There's like 9 realms or something?
Yes, there are 9. There are 9 realms.
Yeah. So my first thought was, she's in like just a different realm, and I know from an episode of, what is it? There's an episode of Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which is another good show you guys should go watch. There's like a very dark, like I think it's like the Nightmare realm or something. That was my first theory, is that she was on like the Nightmare realm, because she's acting like she's being chased, and like it's a very scary place.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but according to the thing I watched, his other theory was the same, that they were on the Kree planet. But his thing against that was, in every other Kree planet like picture or comic book or anything that we've seen, it's always a big city like that covers the whole planet, kind of like Coruscant from Star Wars.
Okay.
Of the entire city, or the entire planet's the city. So kind of like that. So that was his thing. He's like, I don't know if it's that, because the Kree are so advanced and stuff, or this was his thing, and I thought this made a lot of sense, was there's a place called the Dark Spot or something, like the dark spot on the moon, kind of play on the dark side of the moon thing, where there's like a pocket of air and civilization, and ruins of a city and stuff, and it's kind of where Uatu the Watcher lives, like there. But there's actually a long time in the comics where the Inhuman city of Attila is stationed on that spot on the moon, because the world kind of starts to hate them, kind of like the X-Men or mutants. So they go up to the moon to kind of be away from everybody and just run their people how they want to be run. And that's what I think makes the most sense.
So you think it's an Inhuman area? There are other Inhumans in that space.
Well, I think it is teleporting them to the moon, to the dark spot of the moon, which, if the Inhumans are not there, at some point the Inhumans will find out about this place because of the rock or whatever. They'll find other teleporters, and the Inhumans will go there to kind of get them out of the way till 2019 or whatever, when the Inhumans movie comes out.
So do you think that they're going to push all this Inhuman stuff to the side until that movie comes? They can't really, because
not
Daisy's an
now.
Inhuman.
Well, yeah, but like I mean, you don't have to focus on hunting down humans and stuff. I say by the end of this season or maybe next season, all the Inhumans, like you kind of find all of them and you find leaders and you kind of have references to Black Bolt and Medusa and like the royal family of the Inhumans, and they all kind of just get pushed aside. And by pushed aside, I mean the story just takes them to the moon where they can go and live by themselves, and they're not hurting or scaring anybody on Earth. And then they're kind of out of the way to where you won't have to spoil anything for the movies, but then you also have story on why they're not there and why they're not a prominent part of the show anymore.
See, I don't think that my problem with that moon theory is that there were planets in the sky, and there are no other planet or celestial bodies anywhere near our moon, unless that's another moon.
Or this was my way around this. Marvel Universe. I mean, I don't think the Chitauri are real, but they definitely came out of a portal in the sky in New York, according to that universe. So that was my thing. It's just other bullcrap planets that don't exist, but it is our moon.
Okay. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. There's an episode coming up that is supposed to be about Gemma's experience on the planet. I heard that from this podcast as well. The podcast is just a sandbox, just for as a disclaimer, so I can get my quote. You can cite my stuff, but we'll see what happens with that. The fact that she wants to go back is weird. There's nothing. What is back there? Why is she trying to go back? Is it some sort of addiction that she's developed, and like it's just like I can't live away from this place?
It's just really good pot that grows on the planet.
She made a friend, and she's got to go back for this friend. So we'll see what happens with that. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. though is good. I would definitely, if you haven't seen any of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I would
recommend watching episode 1, skipping 2, watching 3 through like 5, then just assume that stupid crap happens till you get to the part where they first reference Hydra in the descriptions on Netflix and watch from there on.
Yeah, you basically want to watch like maybe episode 1 just to get an introduction to something, and then you could probably would be okay just to skip to because where Captain America comes out, that's where it got super good. And then season 2 was great. It was like one of the best things I think on TV last year. And now we're getting season 3 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they've got something to live up to, but hopefully it'll be great.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
So moving on down the list, Arrow. This is Arrow's 4th season on television. I followed, so I didn't really follow Arrow season 1 a lot when it came out. What happened was I watched all of it on Netflix, and then I wanted to keep going. And at that time, season 2 had finished, and so I bought all of it on Amazon, and then watched and like binge watched Arrow season 2. I was like, this is really great. And so season 3 comes on, I'm like, oh, I'm super stoked. Like, this is great. Arrow, this would be great. And watching Arrow, and it was still not the worst until we got to, and we talked about this, until it got to the mid-season, and then it just took a dump, and that showed it went down the tubes. So that season ended with Malcolm Merlyn becoming Ra's al Ghul. Sarah Lance was dead. Laurel Lance had become the Black Canary. That's
cool. Yeah.
That happened. And then it ended with Oliver Queen driving off into the sunset with Felicity Smoke, and it was like, we're gonna go live a life together away from all of this, and I'm done being the Arrow.
Oh, well, and
go ahead.
Roy left, and Thea became Red Arrow or Speedy or whatever.
Yeah. She in the premiere for season 4, in the first episode, they talk about, she's like, Speedy, you're up, and she like, so she even quips, she's like, I thought I told you guys to call me Red Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Roy is gone, and so this is happening, and it basically starts off with Team Arrow, or not Team Arrow, I don't know what we want to call them now, but they're basically getting their butts kicked by this new form of bad guys that have rolled into Starling City. And so they get their butts whooped so bad that they end up having to go back to Oliver and say, Oliver, we need your help. And Oliver's like,
we done messed up. We can't. We screwed up. It's only been like 3 months. We screwed up, Oliver.
Laurel's like, I can't use my canary cry anymore. Wildcat, where are you?
Didn't Wildcat die?
I think he got beat up pretty bad, but I don't think he died. That would be kind of a shame because he was like kind of like Wildcat and even in the comics is kind of all right, whatever. But I think he was portrayed like not badly. Like it was fine what they did with him in this. And the worst part is like Laurel's like, I'm going to train with Wildcat, which is all right. You're getting true to the comics, but then Ted, you done gone screwed up. We got Black Canary out of this. What did you do?
Why would you train her?
Why would you give us this like So a lot of our problems, if you can't tell, is Laurel Lance. Just the way that character is portrayed, the way she's acted by actress Katie Cassidy. I think the worst part, the low point, may have been the actual canary cry when she actually did a canary cry in the roof because it looked so dumb in the way that it did. It's just like, oh, it was bad. So Oliver basically is like, all right, fine, guys, I'm going to call up. I will not propose to Felicity. I will come back to help you. And then, oh no, Oliver's like, I'm going to stay, but I'm going to change my persona so I can give people hope. And I'm going to become the Green Arrow. And so now we have Green Arrow. And so now we are 3 episodes in. The villain that we have is Damien Dark, who is played by Neil McDonough, who played in Captain America and Agent Carter.
Who was he?
He was, what's his name? It's not Happy. It was the guy with the bowler hat who was part of Captain America's squad.
Oh, Jarvis.
Not Jarvis.
Oh, no. Oh, Dum Dum Dugan?
Yes, Dum Dum Dugan. Yes. Neil McDonough, Damien Dark is Dum Dum Dugan in the Marvel Universe. So he was an Agent Carter for an episode or 2 last season, and he was in the Captain America movie, the first one. And now we get him in this, and he's doing a really great job. I think his character is like scary or not. I mean, I'm not necessarily scared by him, but like it's just a TV show. But like he's a menace. Like he's being portrayed really well. I think
he's a very menacing and threatening individual in the show.
Probably one of the best villains we've had in all of Arrow.
So far, I like him better than I even like Slade.
Yes. As far as the villain goes, because Slade even had like a part of like likability to him. Like he was a friend gone foe, which added a little bit, maybe a sympathy towards that character. Damien Dark is just straight up a bad dude. Like, and
he's a good villain, a guy you love to hate.
There you go. But he does it with like not class. He's a villain with class.
Yes,
which kind of makes him cooler. So we get him, and he's like, so this thing that they're introducing in Arrow season 4 is like this mysticism, and like Damien Dark is obviously getting his powers from some sort of like magic source or something like that. We don't know. So, and the season has been about Arrow basically trying to take down the city. In the first episode, we got the fact that Lance is working with Damien Dark and trying to get everybody out of the city. That was kind of one of the last things in that episode. Not the big last thing that happened in that premiere, but like one of the last things that we saw. What are your thoughts on that, Lance trying to working with Damien to get everyone out of the city?
I think it's stupid. And I'm willing to bet that they just say to excuse it or explain it or whatever. There's going to be like, well, excuse me. Well, he just wanted to protect his daughter, and he knows that she won't quit being Canary or whatever unless the city is not there anymore. So, but I think that's just stupid.
I see. I don't know that they'll go that. If they explain it that way, I think it might be stupid on their part. Like, I think they need to go. They need to continue down this road and just portray it as Lance is just trying to get rid of the city. Like he's just like the city is gone. He has no faith in it anymore. They just need to continue to ride that train. And I don't know, maybe see Lance become the bad guy. Lance could be a cool good guy when he works with the Arrow and stuff. We got some of that with season 3. I don't think he has to be the bad guy, but his character kind of makes some irrational decisions. It just runs in that family, I guess. The Lances, they just can't help but make bad decisions.
Sarah's cool.
Sarah is cool, and we'll get to Sarah.
She was only in the best season so far. She was pretty much only in the best season of Arrow.
And she got out while she could.
She represents the best that Arrow has to offer.
Season 2 is great. So we got all that happening, and then the big thing that people might be talking about, I think they are. The last part of that episode, we see Oliver in front of a gravestone. Barry Allen shows up. He apologizes for being late, and then Oliver is basically, because he's dealing with Zoom, and we'll get to that when we talk about Flash. But everyone's there, but we don't see who's in the gravestone. This happens 6 months later, so probably around the time of the mid-season finale or later in the next half of the season, we will get a death, a major death, probably a very major death, because this death is affecting Oliver on the point where he's like, I'm going to kill this person. When he's already said, like, I'm not going to kill. What are your thoughts? Who do you theorize? And I will include, like, everything that's happened up to this point. Like, who do you think is going to die?
My first thought was just that they were going to try to make us think it was Felicity because he wants to propose and all these things. I don't think it's going to be Felicity. And the only other thing that I thought about was Thea. And I think it's going to be a big deal. And it's going to have something to do with her taking her bath in the Lazarus pit. So, like, Damien is going to kill her because of the mysticism and stuff. And her body has something that he needs because she was in the Lazarus pit. So he goes after her, is my theory.
Okay. My thought was kind of Felicity as well. That would be a huge, like, downer, because Felicity is one of the main draws, I think, to the Arrow TV show. Like, she's a funny character. And people like her.
She's popular enough to, she has been retconned into the Arrow comic book series now. So.
All right. So my thought was Felicity too. I think it's not gonna. I don't think. I think maybe I thought Felicity or Laurel. I don't think it's Lance, because you got to think about who this would be. Who would they kill to the point where they are just like, I'm gonna kill this person. Like, who does Oliver want to kill? After watching this last episode, I'm kind of leaning towards Thea. And the reason is, in this last episode, Sarah Lance got brought back to life. And Malcolm Merlyn explains that the Lazarus pit, the only way, when you come back, you are blood rage, kind of. You're like, you need to kill. And to sate this addiction, I guess, maybe you will, or this need. There's this need that you desire to kill. And Thea's like, I'm not going to kill him. Huh?
Didn't he say it was because you take up with the souls and thus part of the persona of the people who have bathed in the Lazarus pit before? So I guess technically, from the way I understood it, the reason that you have to kill somebody is everybody who's taken a bath in the Lazarus pit before has all been homicidal maniacs. So because they were all murderous people, then you get a bloodlust when you take a bath in the Lazarus pit.
Maybe, but that might be the case. But Thea even asks, like, what do I do to cure this? And he's like, vengeance. You kill the person who did this to you. And she's like, well, I can't do that because Raish is already dead. And so then Malcolm's like, well, then you're just gonna have to deal with it and kill it and so forth. So at the end of the episode, Sarah gets thrown into the pit, and then she comes back, and she's kind of crazy right now. Like, she's alive, but she is not the same Sarah Lance that we saw. So my theory is that Sarah Lance is going to be driven by this lust, this thing, and then to kill, and will kill Thea. But then the thought is that the problem with that theory is Oliver says, I'm so angry with this person, I'm going to kill them. Would he be so angry for Sarah killing Thea that he would try to kill Sarah for that? I don't think so. But that kind of would, aside from that kind of hole that it seems to make, I don't know. That was kind of one of my thoughts.
Well, no, especially because I don't think they're gonna make her a killer or something, or that big of a deal in the Arrow TV show. I think they are very clearly trying to set up Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh, well, yes. But
So Sarah coming back for Legends of Tomorrow. The message on Felicity's phone or whatever that says Felicity, that's gonna be Ray.
mm-hmm. Yeah, this person I was talking to at work mentioned that. Is like, is that Ray? I was like, oh yeah, I bet you that's totally Ray. That makes sense.
Like it's gonna be Ray. They're just trying to tell you, these things. They're trying to set up Legends Tomorrow. Even in kind of a Flash talk real quick. Even at the end of this week's Flash, when he's talking to Snart or whatever, Captain Cold in the prison, he's like, I can tell, like, you're gonna be a good guy. No, I'm not. You're gonna be a good guy, because by the time we get to our mid-season finale, your show takes off, and you have to be a good guy by then.
You've got 3 months. You got to figure this out.
You have to become a good guy in 3 months. Let's go.
Or else the network's gonna drop us. So you've got to figure this out. So they are setting that up. But the way, okay. This last episode continues, and the episode before, episodes 2 and 3, continue to solidify the fact that Laurel is a complete nincompoop.
if seasons 1 and 2 and 3 didn't do that enough.
Laurel decides, wait a second, the Lazarus Pit brought Thea back to life. I could do this for my dead sister. And then she's like, let's do this. And the end of episode 2 is like, her opening the casket and looking at zombified Sarah, which was kind of creepy and disturbing.
Yeah,
like that was a good effect. That was kind of a good practical like deal that they did. Like that was like, ugh. But here's the thing: she is watching Thea go through these problems where Thea's having Thea's having issues with like rage and getting out of control in combat, and she's like,
how can I make this work for my sister?
Exactly. No, here's the thing: like, I'm going to do this to my sister. Wait a second. You're watching this happen to Thea, and you're going to do this to your sister? Like, what are you doing? And even Nyssa in this last episode is like, Laurel, you can't do this. Like, think of the monster that would come out. You're doing this from grief. She's like, I've learned to accept it. You need to as well.
And even Nyssa and Malcolm, even people who are clearly not the best, like, moral people who would clearly do whatever they wanted for their own gain are like, yeah, this is kind of a bullcrap idea. We shouldn't do this.
No, yeah, exactly. And they go ahead and do it. And even Malcolm is like, to heal Thea's conscience, and to I don't know what the second thing he said was. I don't remember, but he's like, I will bring Sarah back to life. And then they do this, and then this monster like animal comes out and Sarah, and she's going to get better. Like, she does reach the point where she's like talking incoherent again. But it's like, if you leave that show out of it and you're just looking at the life decisions that are happening here, it's like, this is bad. Like, why are you doing this? So
yeah.
It's Arrow is go ahead.
The new guy. Adam,
Ray.
maybe?
No.
Aaron?
Who? The guy in the black guy working with Felicity?
Yeah. I think that's Mr. Terrific.
Not Ray. What is his name? It starts with an R. It's Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
What is his name?
I didn't actually know that.
You did not know he was Mr. Terrific?
I didn't know that, but I figured it out, and I was actually happy because
Michael Holtz. That doesn't
really?
sound like the same guy.
Maybe there's more than one Mr. Terrific.
IMDb, I'm coming for you. Let's see here.
We're
gonna figure this out.
I figured it out. Yeah, like this Mr. Terrific because I knew because they were focusing too much on some random guy. I was like, okay, well, it has to be somebody. Then, never reading or knowing anything else.
Curtis Holt.
Yeah, never knowing anything else about Mr. Terrific, except for what Justice League Unlimited taught me.
Yeah, yep.
I knew that he was incredibly intelligent and that he's African American.
Mm-hmm.
And then the episode of Justice League Unlimited, I forgot what it's called. The one where Lex and Flash switch bodies,
Oh yeah,
which is probably one of the best episodes of that show.
that's a funny episode.
Mr. Terrific has these orbs that he throws and uses that blow up. And in this episode of Arrow, she's walking up and she's looking at all these things that he's working on to save the thing. And she picks up that ball and she throws it up in the air. And he's like, well, don't do that because it has a tendency to explode. And when they set it down on the thing, it zooms up on it. And there's clearly like a T, like his Mr. Terrific orbs in it. I was like, that's Mr. Terrific.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knew that's who like that character was supposed to be. There's a terrific orb, which I think is something he invented. I don't know what it is, but yeah, he's supposed to be really smart. In Justice League Unlimited, he actually replaces Jean while Jean goes to find himself on Earth and becomes like the operator for the Watchtower, which is kind of a crazy task. Like, but he's like super smart. He's and stuff. So yeah. They're doing that with him, and we'll see what happens. I don't know. This character is gay in the TV show. He talks about in the first episode about doing stuff with his husband or his boyfriend or whatever. I don't know if that was true in the comic books. It could be just CW trying to do some cultural stuff. But yeah. So yeah, Mr. Terrific is in the show. Let's see. I think that overall, like they're doing, I'm enjoying Arrow. Of the premieres, the season 4 premiere of Arrow and the season 1 premiere of season 2 premiere of Flash, I liked the Arrow premiere better than the Flash one.
Yeah, the first 2 episodes of Flash were too Arrow for me.
We can talk about that when we get to it. But I'm liking Arrow so far. They haven't screwed it up yet, and I hope that they don't. I think. One of the things that happened last season, I think multiple people talked about it. We've talked about it with other people, I think. And I've heard it theorized on podcasts, the ones I listened to about it. I think the Central City Underground or like Arrow, whatever one. But basically, it sounds like Flash got really good and it was doing really well. And so the CW just refocused all of their writers and talent to making the Flash and doing it really well. Because the last half of Flash was super good. And Arrow just took a dump in season 3, and it seems like maybe they've got good writers on both sides now. Like they hired some decent writers, and now like, okay, we're equally staffed here. Let's make both of these shows good. While Arrow has kind of written itself into a casting issue with Stephen Amell as Arrow, as Oliver Queen, and Laurel Lance and Katie Cassidy as Laurel Lance, like these are not the best actors. They've kind of written themselves into a corner where they can't really do much about it. If they can still write it well and tell a good story, then cool, do that. You're not going to be able to reach the edge that the Flash and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. have, where you've got better actors doing these shows. But that kind of just speaks to them just trying to throw together Arrow in the first season. It wasn't a super popular show. I mean, they were just throwing it together. They just needed to get some faces and people in there, and these are the people that are doing it. So I hope that they can do right by Arrow to the best that it can be, and hopefully we get a good season 4. That would be pretty great. Is there anything else that you want to talk about on Arrow? Actually, the island sequences. Oliver is back on the island in his pastimes, and now he has a shaved head. That is something that they did. He is he's farming. He's like defending. He's like
he's defending a crack shack.
Yeah, he's like enforcing a crack shack. So, is there anything else you want to talk about on Arrow before we move on?
Not really.
Yeah, it's so. Yeah, I think. Oh, and then there's the whole feud with Oliver and Diggle that got resolved in season 3 finally. I can see Diggle's point to an extent. It's like, dude, you totally just like kidnapped my wife and like potential and stuff. Like, don't do. You've lost my trust. But finally, they're gonna kind of. It's been addressed, and we can move on and so forth. So, all right, Flash. Flash last season was great. The first half was good. The second half was awesome. It was great. And the premiere started with kind of this dream sequence for Barry. He's just kind of imagining himself in the old situation, and then it's like I don't know if it was a dream or just thinking, just his imagination. But Harrison Wells is gone. We'll get to that. And not Harrison Wells. Eobard Thawne is gone, and Flash is kind of doing things on his own, which was really stupid to the point. Like, this is where they got released. It was 2CW. Barry went to like this brooding, like pouty, like I heard pouty might be inspired from another podcast, but like he did not want to be around other people, and he wanted to do it by himself, and he was just being an idiot. And that was not necessarily the best thing to see for the Flash. And it seems that they are coming out of that, and he's working with people again, and he's trusting people, and so forth. And we're getting back into the Flash that we want to see.
Yes.
It took 2 episodes, because even in the second episode, we get Jay Garrick, who is a Flash from Earth 2, and he comes along, and yeah, and then he's just like, I don't trust you, and how do I know who you are, that you are who you really are, and all of this stuff. So did you notice the last part of the episode 2 when after he defeats Sand Demon, that Patty is basically like, Flash, and they're like coming, and then they both run on the opposite sides of a brick beam? Did you catch that at all?
Yeah, that is a famous comic book reference, I believe.
Yeah, it's a nod to it's basically the cover of, I think, where Jay Garrick is introduced as a character, and
where Jay Garrick is reintroduced. Jay Garrick is the original Flash.
Barry Allen is the original Flash.
No, the Golden Age of comics, Jay Garrick was first.
I'm okay. Hold on. I'm pretty sure it was Barry Allen, and then they came into Jay Garrick later. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think so.
I don't want the TV show. I want the comic. So they've introduced Jay Garrick, and he's kind of a character in here. We've gotten some. Let's see. We've gotten some time travel that they're continuing to deal with. We've got alternate universes that they're dealing with now. I'm hoping that they can delve into some of the parallel timelines that they left last season. It's just it's cool. It's Legacy of the Flash. Really? I didn't. Jake. So this is from the DC Wiki. Jay Garrick was the original Flash of the Golden Age and a founding member of the Justice League of Society. Barry Allen was the Flash of the Silver Age and a founding member of the Justice League of America. Okay, I was wrong. So Jay Garrick was the Flash, the original Flash. I always thought it was Barry Allen. Isn't it Barry Allen though who was in the Flash, who created the Speed Force, and then it went back in time, and then and then Jay Garrick got his powers?
So theoretically, I believe that Barry Allen is the most influential Flash, not comic book wise, but like people make the argument that Jay Garrick is the best Flash because without him, then you wouldn't have had such a big success with the other Flashes. But Barry, I believe, creates the Speed Force, and the Speed Force exists at all times. So if it wasn't for Barry,
outside of time and space.
Yes. So if it wasn't for Barry, then Jay wouldn't have been a speedster because he wouldn't have had speed.
Yes. Right. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how I understand it. So
which is really convoluted because isn't that theory or that telling of the story, doesn't he become the lightning bolt that hits him to give him the powers to create the Speed Force? I'm pretty sure that's what happens.
I don't remember. I'm not super familiar with Flash comic book lore. I have a series. The only series of Flash that I have is Flash Rebirth, which was recommended to me. Which it's a decent series. I didn't recognize at the time. I was like, why does everyone love this series so much? Flash Rebirth is we're turning a comic book, but is the series that brought Barry Allen back to life, because I think back in the 80s he died and was consumed by the Speed Force, and then a Flash Rebirth in 2006 that's when Barry Allen escapes the Speed Force and rejoins the world of the living. So in the first episode we see G. Garrick. We talk about Atom Smasher, who is the villain in that first episode. And in that second episode, we learn that this guy named Zoom is bringing villains over to Earth 1 from Earth 2 to kill the Flash. And he's continuing to do so. And we know from Flash, from Arrow, the season premiere, at the funeral, the scene with Oliver at the funeral, and Barry's like, hey, sorry I'm late, or sorry I didn't make it. And Oliver is like, Zoom? And Barry's like, yeah. So Barry is dealing with Zoom. That's kind of going to be his villain for the season. This is going to be his villain for the season. And this was already like spoiled or talked about in like Comic-Cons or whatever pre-season. So Zoom is the villain. We do not know who Zoom is. All we know about him is that he is a blurry image of, and there are different theories. There are different theories.
He is a black Reverse Flash from last season.
We gotta get some culture into this show.
Like he's actually black.
Yes,
like,
he is
not brown. He is actually black and dark.
So we'll go. All right, so this is going full spoiler. This is a theory that I heard on Central City Underground, another podcast. So there are different people. Hunter Zolomon is the Zoom, and from this podcast, I heard that Hunter Zolomon was actually a childhood friend of Barry Allen, and he gets speed, but he has like terrible things happen with like his family and his parents die. And so he wants to make Barry Allen a better person. And so what he does to make Barry Allen a better person is by doing all of this terrible things to him and saying like, hey, I'm trying to help you get fat. I'm trying to help you and make you a better person. But it's like in this sick, demented way. It doesn't seem like that's the Zoom that we're getting. The Zoom that we're getting, it also could be the Black Flash. Or is it the Black Flash?
The Dark Flash or something.
The Dark Flash or something, which is basically like the Grim Reaper, which again from this podcast, the Grim Reaper of the Speed Force. If this Flash touches you, you die. And so could this be the villain that we're dealing with, and we're just calling him Zoom? The other theory, and this is kind of the one that I kind of hope is what they do, and this is like this could be super spoiler if this is right, is that in Flash Rebirth, what happens at the end of that comic series, and this is not my theory, this is a theory I heard off of that podcast, is that at the end of that series, Barry becomes the Black Flash, and then that's how that series ends. Is Barry is now the Black Flash, and he's the one responsible, like to go around and like touch speedsters and kill them. Is Zoom evil Barry Allen from Earth 2? Is that who we are dealing with? I kind of hope that's what's happening. Is like this is Barry Allen in this other universe is like super fast and super. He's like just this villain bad guy, and he is going around and like doing all of this stuff. I don't know. I think that would be kind of cool if they did that.
It could be. I know a lot of people want to see the Grim Reaper Flash or Dark Flash or whatever be introduced. They think that it would be a great thing for the show. I personally think that I would like it better if it wasn't that, because I want to see something where Barry has to get faster and not just outsmart the villain. Because I feel like if Zoom is the Grim Reaper Flash as of right now, getting faster wouldn't help. He would just have to figure out a way to trap it or stop him, because a touch and he's dead.
Mm-hmm. But here's the problem with that. Him being I just thought of this. If he is the Black Flash, I will have to figure out what he's called. If he attacked and was fighting Jake Garrick, and he actually touched him and was like in the process of like vibrating his hand through his heart. Jake Garrick is still alive after being touched by him. he's got the scars to prove it, that he was like attacked and almost killed by him, and he's still alive. So I don't think that if he is the Black Flash, either they're changing the lore around him, and he is good, like not good. He is like another. He's not that Flash. So that's something I thought of. So there are theories. We don't really know who he is yet, but he is the big villain, and we'll see more of him going forward. One of the things I did not like about season 1 of Flash was Iris West. I thought that she was like kind of the Laurel of Flash season 1. She was just making stupid decisions, or not maybe stupid decisions, but like it was just a stupid character. Like there was the CW drama that they feel had to be essential was like around that character. And she's like, I don't want to be with Barry. I'm with Eddie. And then it's like, oh wait, I have feelings for you. And okay, now I don't because I'm in another timeline. And then like the part where she finds out that Barry is the Flash, like it was stupid. I think they're doing. She is a better character. It's definitely more tolerable as a character in this season. And really, there's not really anyone that you kind of hate, or the CW-ness of that is not coming out yet. Like you had Barry being like brooding, emotional. So there's your CW, like in those episodes. But like this last episode, like Barry was fine. Iris was fine. Like things were going well. Like I guess you got the drama with mom coming back, deadbeat mom coming back.
But even still was handled better because the dad was like, I did what I thought was right at the time, and now that I understand that lying to you might not be the best decision, and your mom is back and stuff. And even though Barry said, "Hey, tell your daughter, because she'll forgive you and handle it like a grown-up," I full expected for her to flip out and then a bunch of just emotional drama crap to happen over the next bunch of episodes that didn't need to be there. Mm-hmm. But she handled it like a grown-up and was like, I mean, yeah, I'm sad that you lied to me, but you did what you thought was best for me and tried to protect me as my father. Like, good. You handled it.
Yeah. It was handled correctly. Congratulations. You don't. And it's so much better for us as viewers because we don't have to deal with that crap for the next while. It's just like, okay, that's done. Let's get to like the villains, like, and the good guys, like fighting, and let's get to like the science and the time travel and like the fake science and the real time travel and like all.
That's real science. Ask John.
Oh, okay. I'll the science. That's the science. What's that word? The science advisor for theculturepeople.com.
We should have John on an episode, and he'll just rant about how bullcrap the science in that show is.
Or not. I don't know. Write in, let us know.
If we ever want to lose, think we have too many listeners or something, just put John on an episode and just let him talk.
Let's knock that down a little bit.
Knock that viewer count down to under 20.
So that's happening. Something else we're talking about with the Flash. Harrison Wells. At the end of episode 2, we see Earth 2 Harrison Wells and his All Menacing. There's a tour of Star Labs with these like school kids, and then like they say, "Here is Harrison Wells," and he's like, "Hello, kids," like in this like creepy, like not creepy, like this menacing or like this dark tone. And then at the end of episode 3, we see him come through the speed cannon, which is a portal between Earth 1 and Earth 2 that they've managed to kind of control, and they can manage now, and it'll allow them access to go to Earth 2. And then we see him come through that. Do you think that this is good Harrison Wells, or do you think this is evil Harrison Wells, or what are your thoughts on this?
I really, really want it to be evil Harrison Wells. I think evil Harrison Wells is one of the best parts about Flash season 1. I think he was a very, very good villain. He's probably the best villain to be introduced between. I like him even better than I like. Sorry, I hit the mic. I like him even better than I like Damian right now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I liked Harrison Wells a lot as a villain. So I really hope that it's him.
I think Damian Dark is a better villain. He's more of your typical villain because like he's just a hateable guy. Harrison Wells, like he was a likable dude. Which it makes me hard to like hate my villains when you're just kind of likable like person. But I can.
He's very Magneto-esque to me. I like Magneto because you almost sympathize with him. You know, he's a Jewish guy who lived through the Holocaust, and now that like he sees people rioting against mutants, he's like, I don't want this to happen to my people again, like this kind of thing. So like you're like you have a good end game. People not hating and trying to kill mutants. You're just doing it the wrong way. Which with Harrison, you have a decent end game. I mean, you want to get Barry faster and to create the Speed Force. It might be for your own selfish means because you want to go back home and you don't like the Flash and like you hate him and stuff, but you still kind of have the same goal as our heroes right now, which is for Flash to get better.
Yeah, but if you think about like, all right, you kind of mentioned it. He hates the Flash. The whole reason he was in that was because he went back in time to kill Flash. He is not. He's so in that respect, he's not a good dude.
Well,
He hates him with a passion, and he
which is
went
why
back
he's
there.
still a good villain. He's
Yes,
not somebody
but
you can totally sympathize with. He's still a villain, but you understand almost. Like, he was helping the Flash the whole first season. I don't know. I think that arc was very good.
The character development of Eobard Thawne in season 1 is interesting because it starts off, if you're going timeline wise, beginning to end, it starts off with him going back into time to young Barry, trying to kill young Barry. Older Barry saves younger Barry, gets him out of there. Eobard is mad, kills mom. Then by killing his mom, he stops the Flash from ever coming into existence. Then you have him like, okay, I've got to get back there. I got to create the Speed Force. I got to create the Flash now. Which is ironic. And then he creates the Flash, and then he like even says like, I kind of like you now. Like I don't hate you like I used to. Like you've kind of it's not a full on like son relationship like he has with Cisco, but it is a maybe more of an understanding relationship that he sees Barry now and is like, okay, like I don't hate you nearly as much as I used to.
I understand why you do what you do and why you are how you are and things.
He just got to know him as a person instead of like his enemy who was always like thwarting all of his robberies or whatever he did. So
my biggest problem with him in the show was in the comics, that particular, there's been multiple like reverse flashes and stuff, but that particular one had the best hook for me. And the hook was with that particular Flash was he hated the Flash, but he was inspired by Barry Allen way in the future to pick up chemicals and to do the same experiment and try to become the Flash, like for the future. And then succeeds, goes back in time, and like his head gets all messed up and stuff, and then becomes a villain. But the hook with him is he can never actually kill the Flash. Like so many villains just want to kill the hero. The hook with Professor Zoom is he can't kill him, because if he kills the Flash, he's killed his own origin. Like if the Flash didn't exist, then he wouldn't exist in the future.
I think though that I think you're getting them mixed up. Professor Zoom and Eobard Thawne, I think, are different people.
I know. I think they called Professor Zoom the Reversed Flash, according to the comics.
But then you might be talking about a different Reverse Flash.
I might be. I know for a fact that there's at least 2 Reverse Flashes in comics, and then there's also Professor Zoom, and I believe another character just called Zoom.
Okay. Professor Eobard Zoom Thawne, or Professor Zoom. Okay, so that's a Wikipedia thing. So I guess so he could be. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Harrison Wells and what's going on. I kind of would I don't know. We'll see. The podcast I listened to, they said that they don't think they've seen Eobard Thawne yet. They don't think that we have seen Eobard Thawne, so they think that this is kind of just actual Harrison Wells. We'll see what's going on with that. But Flash is. It's not. Maybe we'll let it go a little bit longer, but Flash is not It's good. It's good. It's still worth watching, I think.
Hmm.
But it's not. It hasn't grabbed. It's not. We're not into the story yet. We're still building a story and what's going to happen. So, let's see. I think it's about it for Flash. Oh, Patty Spivot is awesome.
Oh
That's a
yeah,
new character that they've introduced. Huh?
yeah, she's a very cool character so
Yeah,
far.
she's very likable.
Hmm.
She is from this other podcast. She's a mix of two different characters. One of them was I don't remember the names of these characters, but one of them was like a lab partner who worked with Barry in the crime lab, and the other one was like a female cop. And this is kind of a mix of personality and job with both of them. And we get Patty Spivot, and it seems that they're definitely leaning towards the part where Barry and Patty will date at
Which
some point.
that's my biggest problem with her is that she's going. I feel like she's going to be the cause of a lot of CW drama later on between her, Barry, and Iris.
Mm. Yeah, I hope.
Because
I hope not.
Iris and Barry, I know that's the thing because I like the character a lot so far, but and they're saying like, they're probably gonna date. Oh, they keep bumping into each other. They're gonna, and then. But the thing is eventually Iris and Barry have to end up together because I think they've said stuff about Wally West either coming in this season or next season, and Wally only comes if Barry and Iris have a kid. So
I don't know. I think my theory on that is Wally West is going to be like a half brother of Iris. I think that the mom had another kid. And
how does he have Speed Force powers then?
we don't know yet. Maybe he was. I don't know. I don't know what would happen. I don't think we're gonna get Wally West in the season. There's no way that they like get married and have a kid, and he's like fully grown because the Wally West we're getting is gonna be like a 12-year-old Wally West.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it'll be time travel. I would think like kind of like the episode of Justice League Unlimited where they time travel and Green Lantern meets him and Hawk Girl's son.
Yeah,
it's gonna be kind of like that. Like Wally's gonna come back and he's gonna say something like, "They'll be like, well, who are you?" And be like, "I'm Wally West." And be like, "What? Like, huh?"
Okay.
And kind of like talking, and it's gonna be really awkward for Barry because he's like, I have feelings for this chick, but apparently, according to our future and my future child right here, I get married to Iris.
Do you think that? Well, I mean, we already established that they get married because of the article in season 1 where it's hyphenated because the Flash disappears in Crisis. Iris, West hyphen Allen. Do you think maybe this could be an Earth 2 Flash where Wally West is just an Earth 2 character?
Maybe, or a multiple Earth. I don't know.
I don't know. I think maybe I don't know. Maybe Jake Garrick would have mentioned him if there was another like Kid Flash running around Earth 2.
Kid Flash.
So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, Wally West is coming later, so we'll see. We'll see what we get. Well, that is those shows. We've talked about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Arrow, and now Flash. Before we wrap up for the evening, is there anything you want to talk about as far as like other TV shows? Like, is there anything other than these kind of 3 that you've been watching recently?
Recently, I've not been watching a lot of TV besides those recently. I've gotten back into comics more so. I've been buying more and following more, but I've been watching the Goldbergs, as I said, and I think every episode of the Goldbergs that I've seen ever they've all been pretty killer, in my opinion. Like some of them are better than others, but it's definitely a very consistently funny show that I'd recommend. So
okay. For myself, I switched between shows. I was watching a lot of Stargate. I'm in season 5 of that. I'd like to finish that show. I've been going through. I'm rewatching Flash season 1. I'm almost finished with that. And then after that, I might go back and watch Arrow season 3 for who knows what reason. And that's kind of it. I started watching iZombie a little bit, and I think I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna watch that show. That show is it's got some, I don't know, it's got some content. I don't know that I want to deal with. So I might stop watching. I'll probably start watching the show. That show is weird too. It kind of a comic, but weird. It's like the zombie is like eating brains and then predicting crimes, but then like it's coming off of the cops like, yeah, I'm a psychic. And like I'm getting vibes or whatever. That's how she's figuring it out. So we'll see. That's only 12. That season is only 12 episodes long, which is kind of different. I mean, maybe I'll power through it at some point, but I think I might just call it on that one. Yeah, Agents of Shield. We will have Agent Carter coming this winter, and then we'll have Legends of Tomorrow coming this winter as well. And yeah, we've got. It's a good time for superhero TV shows and superhero movies and stuff. So, all right, well, that's gonna wrap it up. Mark, how can people find you?
You can go to facebook.com. I don't have any special thing to search, just Marcus Nip on Facebook. And then on my Twitter is at Marky Freak Bro, and my Instagram, which I don't use any social media at all, really, but the one I use most is probably Instagram, and my Instagram is at AfroThunder.
Okay. If you'd like to email, if you want to follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Drewby132, facebook.com/Drewby132. If you want to email me directly, it's drewby@theculturemanpeople.com. If you want to email the show, if you want to tell us, what do you think of the show? Do you like it? What other shows are you watching? What do you have thoughts on these episodes on other podcasts that I listen to? People write in about the shows and comments and stuff. So, talk to us about stuff and just give us your thoughts or predictions or whatever.
Or suggestions for like another superhero show. Like I wouldn't mind talking about Daredevil or something at some point too.
Oh yeah, maybe over winter break we do a little special thing or a couple episodes where we talk about we go through Daredevil. That's a good show, man. That's such a good show.
So good.
It's so dark, but it's so good. And Jessica Jones is coming too.
I don't know if I'll watch that one. It might be a little too risque or raunchy for me.
Yeah. We'll have to see what happens with that one. Yeah, if you want to email the show, podcast at theculturemanpeople.com, and we can perhaps we'll read it on the show. You don't know. Tentatively, this show right now is just the Culture My People's TV show podcast. If you have a name suggestion, I'm open to suggestions. What should we call this? We've got hashtag Evolve the Conversation. There's for the comic podcast, the monthly issue weekly, which I don't know that we will ever top as a name. I know you. I guess maybe we will. Marcus, I know you probably don't think that we'll ever top that as a name.
No.
We've got I can't know music, I don't know music. So if you've got like some clever idea for the name of the show, email, write us in. Tweet me or Facebook or talk to Mark and let us know what may be a good idea for the name of the show. So, all right, Mark, it is late. We both need to go to bed. So, to wrap this up, this has been the Culture My People's TV show podcast with me, Drewby, and my co-host
Marcus. Sorry, my bad.